Hello and thanks for watching Best Maths Tutors. We continue to go through our series on algebra, and this time we're covering changing the subject of an equation. And we hope you find this interesting and helpful, and if so, please consider subscribing to our channel. So the first question we've got is x plus y equals z. So eventually what we're going to end up with at the bottom is something like x equals and then some algebraic expression. So we've got to get the x on its own for it to be the subject. So to do that, we have to look at this side and say, well, we've got x plus y equals z. So to get rid of this y that's with the x, we need to take away, because that's the opposite to adding to y. And the golden rule is, if we do something to one side of the equals, we have to do something, the same thing, to the other side. So I've taken away y from both sides there, and the y's cancel there, and we're left with x on the left hand side, and that's equal to z minus y on the right hand side. And we've done it. So that's the first one done. In our second example, we've got a slightly more difficult example. We've got 5x plus 2 equals y. So I'm going to make x the subject of this one. And so first of all, I'm going to try and get rid of this plus 2. And so to do that, I'm going to do the opposite to adding 2. So I'm going to take away 2. I'm also going to do the same on this side. And so the 2's will cancel on the left. And that will leave me with 5x equals y minus 2. The next thing we want to do is get rid of this 5. And the 5 is multiplying the x. So what we're going to have to do is divide by 5. So I'm going to divide by 5 there, because that would cancel without 5. But because I've done it on the left hand side of the equals, I've also got to do it on the right hand side. So I've got to do it there. So that leaves me with x on the left and y minus 2 over 5 on the right. And we've done that as well because we've now got x is on its own. In our next example, we've got x plus 2 all divided by 5, because it's on the bottom of the fraction, equals z. So the first thing I'm going to do is try and get rid of this 5. And because the 5 is dividing there, because it's on the bottom of a fraction, I'm going to times this side by 5, because it's going to cancel with the 5 there. And because I've times that side by 5, I've got to do the same there. So that leaves me with x plus 2 on the left equals z times 5, which I can actually write as 5z, because that means 5 times z there. And we now want to just get rid of this 2 that's been added to the x. So to do that, I'm going to take away 2. That's the opposite to adding 2. And I've also got to do the same thing there. So the 2's will cancel on the left, and I'm left with x equals 5z minus 2. And that one's completed. In our next example, we've got 3x divided by 4y equals 5b. So the first thing I'm going to do to get the x on its own is I'm going to get rid of this 4y. And so to do that, I've got to times both sides by 4y. And that's because the 4y there will cancel with the 4y on the bottom line. So having done that, I'm left with 3x on the left, and on the right hand side I've got 5b times 4y. So I can times the numbers together. 5 times 4 will give me 20, and then I've just got b times y, so I can write that actually as just by. That means b times y. So I've got 20by. And then I just need to try and get rid of this 3 on the left hand side that's multiplying the x. So the opposite to multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. So the 3's will cancel. But because I've done that there, I've got to also do it on the right hand side. And so I'm left with x equals 20by over 3. In our next example, we've got 7y over 5x equals 3z. So I want to try and get rid of the x on the bottom here, because if I'm making x a subject, it can't be on the bottom line. So what I need to do is first of all times both sides by x, because although it cancels there, if I times the x there, it will appear on the other side. So what I end up with is 7y over 5 equals 3z times x. And now all I need to do is try and get rid of this 3z that's now multiplying the x there. So to do that, I'm going to divide both sides by 3z. So I'm going to divide by 3z there, and I'm going to divide by 3z there. So those 3z's will cancel on the right hand side, and there's a little trick that we can do here. If we're dividing a fraction by anything, then actually I can do that by multiplying the bottom line of the fraction by what I'm dividing by. So to divide 7y over 5 by 3z, I'll actually get 7y over 5 and then times by 3z in the denominator. So that's the same as dividing the whole of this by 3z, just multiplying by 3z in the denominator. And that equals x still. So I'm just going to tidy up the bottom line there. So I've got 7y, multiply the numbers together, over 15z. And that's equal to x. So x is the subject because it's on its own. In our next example, I'm just trying to do more difficult examples as we go along. We've got brackets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply out the brackets on both sides first of all. So I've got 5 times x will give me 5x. 5 times positive 3 will actually give me positive 15. And then that's going to be equal to 2x. So 2 times x is 2x. And then 2 times 3b, so plus 6b. That will give me if I multiply the number part together. So what I need to do next is I need to collect the x's up on the side with the most number of x's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away 2x from this side and also 2x from this side because I don't want x's to be on both sides of the equation. So the x's will cancel there. I'm left with 5x minus 3x minus 2x gives me 3x. Still got the 15, and that's equal to 6b. And then if I want to get rid of the 15 now, so I'm going to get rid of this, I've got to take away 15. So that's going to go, and I've got to do the same on this side. So I'm left with the 15's cancelling. I've just got 3x on that side, and that's equal to 6b minus 15. And we've nearly completed it, but we've still got the 3 there that we need to get rid of. So because that's 3 times x, what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 3 because that would cancel. But again, the rule is I've got to do the same thing to both sides always. So that's going to divide by 3 there. And so we're left with x on the left hand side, and that's just equal to 6b minus 15 over 3. And we've done that. That's completed. In our final example, so this is the most difficult one that we're going to look at, we've got x plus 4 over x plus 5 on the right hand side of the equation, and that's equal to y. So we're going to make x the subject. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got to multiply both sides by this x plus 5 because I don't want x's to be on the bottom of an equation. So I'm going to do that, times by x plus 5 there, and times by x plus 5 there. So the reason is because if I divide by something and times by something, they will cancel each other out. So the x plus 5 disappears on that side. And then what I'm left with is y times x plus 5. That's supposed to be a times there. And that's just equal to x plus 4. So that still looks a bit complicated. But what I need to do is multiply out this bracket. So I'm going to get y times x. And because I like writing it alphabetically, I'm going to call it xy because that's exactly the same as yx. Plus 5 times y, so that's multiplying the y and the 5 together, equals x plus 4. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to collect up the x's on the left hand side. So I'm going to take this x, I'm going to take away from there, so that cancels, but because I've done it there, I'm going to do it on the other side as well. So that's going to give me, putting the x's near each other, xy minus x. We've still got the plus 5y there, and that's equal to just 4 on the right hand side. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get rid of this plus 5y. So because that's a plus 5y, I've got to take away 5y, and I've got to do the same thing there. So that's going to cancel there, and we end up with x minus y, xy minus x equals 4 minus 5y. So it's just like shuffling them around, really, just shuffling them and then getting them where we want them to be. So we need to do a little trick on this side because we've got x's like tied together with the y there. So what I'm going to do is actually factorise this left hand side. So we're going to get x, if I factorise, I've got an x in both parts, and factorise means brackets. So I'm going to open up a bracket, and in the bracket I'm going to have y, because x times y would give me that, what I've got. And then to get minus x, I'm going to have a minus 1 there. So that's now factorised, and that's equal to 4 minus 5y. Now I just want to do one more step to try and get the x on its own. So we're nearly there. So this is times. So to do the opposite, I've actually got to divide by that y minus 1, because they will cancel with each other. But again, because I've done that there, I've got to do it on this side as well. Y minus 1. And when I simplify that, that just leaves me with the x on the left hand side, and on the right hand side 4 minus 5y over, I don't really need to write the brackets there, I can just leave that off, y minus 1. And that's completed. So I hope that's been helpful to you, and if it has, please consider subscribing to our channel and giving the video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.